Chaotic is a beloved series that blends high-stakes adventure, strategic gameplay, and the ultimate gamer fantasy, entering a world where the trading cards you collect and play with are real. With its dynamic characters, intense battles, and richly built world, the series captivated fans and left us with unforgettable moments. Chaotic is more than a game, it's a gateway to another dimension. Players like Tom Majors, Kaz Kalinkas, Sarah, and Peyton discover that their seemingly ordinary card game is tied to the very real world of Perim, home to fierce tribes like the Overworlders, Underworlders, Danians, and Marillions. Here is the entire story of Chaotic, from the beginning to the end. Before there was Chaotic the card game, before humans even knew about Perim, there was a legend, the legend of the Kothica. Imagine the most powerful, reality-warping artifact you can think of. Now multiply that by 1,000. That's the Kothica. It was said to hold the power to shape the world itself, and naturally, every tribe in Perim wanted a piece of it. But as with all great power, the Kothica came with a catch. It brought chaos. War erupted among Perim's tribes, each one fighting to control the artifact and bend it to their will. Out of this conflict, 4 dominant factions rose, each as unique as the terrain they called home. First, there were the Overworlders. Led by the heroic and determined Maxor, this tribe was all about protecting Perim from destruction. They were noble, strategic, and fiercely loyal, always working toward peace, even if it meant getting their hands dirty in battle. Among their ranks were warriors like Intress, a calm and calculated fighter, and Najaran, the wise old sage who seemed to know everything. Then, there were the Underworlders, Perim's bad boys and girls. If the Overworlders were about order, the Underworlders were all about power. Kaur, their fiery leader, ruled with strength and intimidation. Takinom, his winged right-hand fighter, and Kaibon, the loyal enforcer, were always ready to crush anyone who stood in their way. Let's just say diplomacy wasn't their strong suit. Next came the Danians, a hive-mind species who worked together as one unstoppable unit. Their queen, Alexia, was both cunning and ruthless, and her warriors, like Wama, were experts at overwhelming their enemies with sheer numbers. They weren't flashy, but their strength lay in their unbreakable unity. And then, there were the Marillions. For a long time, no one even knew they existed. They were sealed away deep beneath Perim's waters because they were too dangerous to be left unchecked. Their specialty: mind control. When they finally re-emerged, they brought a whole new level of chaos to Perim. To keep some semblance of balance, the Codemasters stepped in. These mysterious overseers made the rules for how Perim operated, rules that ensured no tribe could gain ultimate control, even if they managed to find the Kothica. For centuries, they maintained order. But as the tribes grew stronger, even their influence started to waver. Fast forward a few centuries and Perim hasn't exactly calmed down. The tribes are still locked in a constant power struggle, and the Kothica remains a tantalizing mystery no one can resist chasing. Battles rage across the overworld forests, the underworld's fiery pits, the Danians' hive chambers, and the uncharted waters where the Marillions are said to lurk. But here's the twist. Humans have no idea this is happening. For them, the world of Perim exists only as Chaotic, a wildly popular trading card game. For kids like Tom Majors and his best friend Kaz Kalinkas, Chaotic is more than just a game. It's a lifestyle. The two are inseparable, constantly battling online, theorizing about strategies, and dreaming of rare cards. Kaz is the kind of guy who's memorized every creature's backstory and can tell you the best way to take down a Maxor deck in 3 turns. Tom? He's a little more laid back, but he's got the kind of instinct you can't teach. Together, they're an unstoppable team, or so they think. One ordinary afternoon, Tom's scanner lights up with a strange, buzzing alert. On the screen, a cryptic message appears. "Welcome to Chaotic. Enter the code." Now, this isn't some run-of-the-mill Chaotic update. This is something bigger. The code flashes again, and Tom, caught somewhere between curiosity and disbelief, enters it. In an instant, the world changes. His scanner glows, and suddenly, Tom is standing in a place he's never seen before. A high-tech, futuristic coliseum packed with players from around the world. This is the Chaotic Dome, the place where the game isn't just played, it's lived. Tom doesn't get much time to process what's happening before a voice booms through the dome. Begin. A holographic interface appears showing his first opponent, none other than Kaz, who has apparently been part of this world for a while. Kaz grins, already one step ahead, and the battle begins. Unlike the digital matches Tom is used to, this is different. The Chaotic Dome doesn't just simulate battles. It transports players into the world of Perim itself. 1 second, Tom's standing in the arena, and the next, he's in the middle of a fiery battlefield in the underworld. The stakes are real, and the creatures aren't just cards anymore. They're living, breathing beings with personalities, quirks, and raw power. Tom barely scrapes through the match, managing to pull off a lucky win against Kaz. But instead of feeling defeated, Kaz is thrilled. "You're in now," he says, clapping Tom on the back. "This is chaotic, and it's about to get wild." Tom Majors thought he knew what adventure looked like, logging into Chaotic, battling online, and unlocking new cards. But standing in the middle of Perim for the first time? That was something else entirely. The towering trees, the shimmering rivers, and the faint hum of life in the overworld were nothing like his computer screen. His scanner buzzed excitedly, picking up nearby energy signatures, and Tom could barely keep up. Before long, he ran into a group of creatures that looked like they walked right off his favorite cards. Leading them was none other than Maxer, the overworld's legendary leader. With his golden armor and commanding presence, Maxer looked like he could take on the whole underworld by himself. At first, Maxer wasn't exactly thrilled about a human wandering into his territory. But when Tom pulled out his scanner, Maxer seemed to recognize it, or at least what it represented. Tom quickly realized that being a player in Perim was a big deal. The creatures here didn't just know about humans. They respected, or feared, players for their ability to influence the balance of power. The Overworlders, as Tom soon learned, were the protectors of Perim's fragile peace. They fought not just to win battles, but to keep Perim from tipping into chaos. Creatures like Intress, a calm and tactical warrior, and Najarin, a wise sage with answers to almost everything, took Tom under their wing. They explained the ongoing power struggles between the tribes and hinted at secrets even bigger than the battles. While Tom was busy getting the VIP tour of Overworld territory, Kaz Kalinkas had already jumped headfirst into the underworld. For Kaz, this wasn't just a detour, it was like finally meeting his heroes. He'd been obsessed with the underworld for years, studying every creature, memorizing their abilities, and even practicing Kaor's scowl in the mirror. Now, he was standing in their home turf, surrounded by rivers of lava and jagged cliffs that practically screamed, "Stay out!" And then there was Kaor. Tall, fiery, and absolutely terrifying, the underworld leader wasn't exactly the welcoming type. But Kaz saw him as the ultimate symbol of strength. When Kaor agreed to let Kaz stay, after a suspiciously long glare, Kaz knew he'd made it. In the underworld, it wasn't enough to be strong. You had to be ruthless, smart, and ready to take down anyone who stood in your way. Kaz dove right in, scanning creatures like Takinom, the fierce, winged warrior, and Kaibon, a creature who looked like he could bench press a mountain. For Kaz, this was paradise. He wasn't just collecting scans, he was becoming part of the tribe. Tom sets out on an adventure into the Mypedian desert, alongside Peyton, a fellow chaotic player and one of his closest friends. Peyton, known for his love of wild strategies and rare scans, often brings a more lighthearted energy to the group with his humor and enthusiasm. Together, they hope to uncover some of the rare and elusive creatures that call the desert home. The Mypedian desert is every bit as challenging as they had imagined. The scorching heat, endless dunes, and sudden sandstorms make the journey exhausting. But the desert isn't just a test of endurance. It's also the homeland of the Mypedians, a tribe famous for their mirage abilities which allow them to turn invisible and strike when least expected. As Tom and Peyton navigate the treacherous terrain, they are ambushed by an overworlder named Sluruk, a powerful creature who uses his strength and cunning to attack. The fight is chaotic, with Sluruk proving to be a formidable opponent. Just when it seems like things might go south for Tom and Peyton, they are saved by Tian, a noble and skilled Mypedian warrior. Tian quickly drives Sluruk away, rescuing the two players. His actions highlight the honor and loyalty that define the Mypedians, who prioritize protecting their territory from outsiders, regardless of tribal alliances. Through Tian, Tom and Peyton gain a better understanding of the Mypedian tribe, including their culture and strategic approach to survival in Perim. This encounter isn't just a battle for scans, it's a lesson in the complexity of Perim's tribal dynamics. It becomes clear that alliances and rivalries aren't always black and white, as even creatures from the same tribe like Sluruk can act against the ideals of their people. For Tom, this is yet another glimpse into the intricate world of Perim, where every encounter brings new challenges and insights. When it comes to the Danians, forget flashy fireballs or majestic hero vibes. This hive-minded tribe is all about teamwork, strategy, and a touch of creepy crawly energy. Think ants on a mission. But these ants are 10 feet tall, can fight like pros, and will infect you to join their squad if you're not careful. Yep, the Danians don't ask you to sign up. They just make you one of them. Tom and Kaz's first run-in with the Danians happens when they decide to explore the endless underground tunnels that make up Danian territory. Imagine a maze of twisty, shadowy caverns, filled with glowing eggs and the low hum of a billion bug wings. Not exactly vacation vibes, but hey, it's Perim. The Danians, led by their queen Alexia, live and breathe unity. Literally. Their hive works like one massive brain, and every Danian knows their place in the grand scheme of things. Tom gets his first taste of Danian tactics when he stumbles into a battle between the hive and some unlucky underworlders. Let's just say the underworld crew didn't stand a chance. Wama, one of Alexia's fiercest warriors, leads a swarm so fast and coordinated it looks like a choreographed dance, but with way more stingers and biting. Watching Wama in action, Tom realizes these guys aren't about individual glory. They're the group project no one can outwork. Kaz, ever the underworld fanboy, is more skeptical. Sure, the Danians' teamwork is cool, but their habit of recruiting creatures through infection? Yikes. In one jaw-dropping moment, Kaz witnesses a creature transform after being hit by Danian music. 1 second, it's fighting against them, and the next, it's buzzing around like it's been part of the hive forever. Things get even juicier when Alexia decides it's expansion time. She sends her hive to stake a claim on disputed territory shared by the Mypedians and the Underworlders. Cue a chaotic three-way showdown. Tom and Kaz find themselves smack in the middle, dodging mirage attacks, fireballs, and of course, swarms of Danians. It's like the ultimate game of capture the flag, except the Danians are playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Despite their chill, low-profile vibe compared to the loud and proud Underworlders or the Overworld's heroic crew, the Danians are a force to be reckoned with. They're patient, calculated, and always one step ahead. You might not see them making a dramatic entrance, but when they do show up, you know things are about to get intense. The Danians may not be flashy, but their hive mind tactics, ability to turn foes into friends or at least loyal drones, and sheer numbers make them a wild card in Perim's ever-escalating tribal drama. And let's be real. If you find yourself in their tunnels, the best strategy is simple. Run. After all that, a new threat is introduced. The Marillions. These ancient aquatic creatures, long thought to be sealed away beneath Perim's oceans, break free and unleash chaos across the land. With their terrifying mind control abilities, the Marillions sow discord and paranoia among the tribes, turning even the strongest alliances into fragile, ticking time bombs. Tom, Kaz, Sarah, and Peyton find themselves in the middle of this escalating crisis as the Marillions infiltrate every corner of Perim, seeking control of the Kothika. The first hints of the Marillions' rise come when strange occurrences begin disrupting battles across Perim. Creatures act erratically, alliances crumble without warning, and whispers of an ancient underwater tribe resurface. The truth is revealed when Aun, the Marillion leader, launches a full-scale invasion, targeting the fragile balance among the Overworlders, Underworlders, Danians, and Mypedians. Tom and Kaz witness firsthand the Marillions' devastating power when Aun's forces take control of key Danian and Mypedian warriors using mind control music. The affected creatures are transformed into puppets, spreading chaos and confusion as the Marillions' ranks grow. As the threat escalates, Tom and Kaz struggle with their loyalties to their respective tribes. Tom, aligned with the Overworlders, believes in unity and strategy, while Kaz, loyal to the Underworlders, thinks brute strength is the only way to fight back. Their differing philosophies put a strain on their friendship, especially when Kaz's allegiance to Kaior leads to risky decisions that nearly cost the Overworlders key battles. Despite their differences, the two friends realize that the only way to defeat the Marillions is to unite Perim's tribes. Tom and Kaz orchestrate an unprecedented alliance between the tribes. The Overworlders, Underworlders, Danians, and Mypedians put aside their rivalries to launch a coordinated attack on the Marillions' stronghold. The battle is chaotic, with mind-controlled warriors turning against their allies, and the Marillions unveiling terrifying new powers. In a climactic showdown, Tom and Maxer face off against Aun, while Kaz and Kaor lead the charge to destroy the Marillions' underwater lair. The Alliance manages to repel the Marillions, but not without heavy losses. With the Marillions pushed back but not entirely defeated, the tribes face new challenges as ancient secrets come to light. Perim starts recovering from the Marillion invasion. Although the tribes temporarily allied to repel Aun and his forces, old rivalries and grudges quickly resurface. The Overworlders, Underworlders, Danians, and Mypedians, each battered and weakened, now scramble to reclaim lost territory and resources. Tom, Kaz, Sarah, and Peyton find themselves navigating this precarious new world, acting as mediators to prevent the tribes from plunging Perim into another full-scale war. However, tensions escalate when the tribes suspect one another of secretly searching for the Kothika, which is still shrouded in mystery. In one early episode, Tom witnesses a skirmish between Overworlders and Underworlders over a supposedly ancient artifact. The artifact turns out to be fake, but the incident highlights how fragile the alliances have become. Maxer and Kaior are both determined to outmaneuver the other, and Tom is caught in the middle. Kaz, meanwhile, becomes increasingly frustrated with the Overworlders' cautious approach, siding more openly with the Underworlders. This growing divide between Tom and Kaz adds emotional stakes to the season, as their friendship is tested like never before. One day, Tom's scanner picks up a signal, unlike anything he's encountered before. Following the trail, he and his friends arrive at the Dranicus Threshold, a mysterious portal hidden deep within Perim's mountains. The portal is said to connect to ancient Perim, a time before the tribes existed as they do now. Tom faces off against Codemaster Hotek in a high-stakes battle for access to the portal. The battle is grueling, showcasing Hotek's unique strategies and immense skill. Tom narrowly secures victory, and the portal activates. Stepping through the Dranicus Threshold, Tom and his friends catch glimpses of Perim's distant past. They see the early forms of the tribes and learn that the Kothika has always been at the center of Perim's struggles. The revelation hints at the artifact's deeper connection to the Spirit Lands, a mystical realm tied to Perim's very existence. This discovery sets the stage for the season's exploration of ancient knowledge and lost history. The Spirit Lands are introduced as a parallel realm tied to Perim's life force. Tom and his friends, guided by their scanners, venture into this ethereal dimension. Here, the group learns about the Spirit Land's critical connection to the balance of Perim. A guardian of the Spirit Lands reveals that the tribe's constant fighting over the Kothika, the essence of creation and destruction, has begun to destabilize the Spirit Lands, endangering the entire world. The guardian warns that unless harmony is restored, both Perim and the Spirit Lands will collapse. This revelation raises the stakes for Tom, Kaz, Sarah, and Peyton, as they realize that the tribe's endless pursuit of power could doom all of Perim. Throughout the season, the fragile peace between the Overworlders, Underworlders, Danians, and Mypedians continues to crumble. Maxer and Kaor lead their tribes into increasingly bold and dangerous moves, each determined to secure their dominance. Alexia of the Danians schemes to expand her hive's influence, while the Mepedians try to exploit the chaos for their own advantage. Tom and Kaz, meanwhile, find themselves more divided than ever. Kaz embraces the Underworlder's philosophy of strength and dominance, while Tom remains loyal to the Overworlder's ideals of balance and peace. In one pivotal episode, Kaz assists the Underworlders in ambushing an Overworld scouting party, only to discover too late that Tom was among them. The emotional fallout from this confrontation strains their friendship and adds a personal layer of conflict to the larger tribal struggles. One of the key storylines of the season involves Tangath Toborn, a revered Overworld warrior who sacrificed himself in the battle against the Marillions. Tangath Toborn's spirit resides in the Spirit Lands, but his presence there creates instability. In the series finale, Batog, a powerful creature, emerges and threatens to destroy Perim unless he can battle Tangath Toborn. The tribes, still divided, struggle to respond to this new threat. Tom and Maxor work together to free Tangath Toborn's spirit from its frozen state, allowing him to return to the physical realm and face Batog. The battle is intense, but Tangath Toborn ultimately defeats Batog, restoring balance to the Spirit Lands and Perim. Tangath Toborn, having fulfilled his duty, chooses to return to the Spirit Lands, cementing his legacy as one of Perim's greatest heroes. The tribes, though still wary of one another, agree to a fragile truce, understanding that continued conflict could destroy their world. Tom, Kaz, Sarah, and Peyton return to the Chaotic Dome, forever changed by their experiences. They reflect on the lessons they've learned, knowing that their adventures in Perim have shaped them in profound ways. And there you have it, the entire story of Chaotic. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite battles or moments in the comments below.